Did my duplex almost flood? Here's a look behind the scenes of passive real estate going a little bit messy. I'm away on vacation, and my phone rings, and it lights up, and it turns out that it's my tenant, and my tenant never calls me. Like, the only time he calls me is if it's something. So I answer the phone, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, I came home from work today, and my bathtub was filled with water. Problem is, I'm not the one that filled it. There was a clog in the main line. As it turned out, there was a clog in the main line. We kind of made that assumption, but we didn't know that for sure. What was happening was the guy from upstairs would be using his shower, and as the shower drained, it was backing up, and it backed up into the tub downstairs. Now, that leads us to our first lesson. Always answer your phone. If you're going to self-manage your properties, and even if you're not self-managing your properties and your property manager calls you, always answer your phone. You have to be in communication. Why do I point this out? Because I had a tenant once that every time the phone rang, it was always like something like, my neighbor is being too loud. And the neighbor being somebody else on a different property, not like the neighbor of an apartment, like 2 apartments next to it. Not that neighbor. The neighbor of somebody in the house next door. He's being too loud. I'm like, well, what do you want me to do about it? Like, he would complain that there were too many mosquitoes in the backyard. Like, he would just complain about like everything. So every time the phone rang with that guy, I didn't want to pick the phone up. When you get to that point, you have to take certain measures. That's another episode of Real Estate Getting Messy. But the point is, always answer your phone, because even if it was that individual that always called to complain about stupid stuff, even if it was that individual, it may be something serious, and you have to take care of your property. If you're not taking care of your property can't take care of you. Your property's like the golden egg. The goose that laid the golden egg, your property's the goose, and it lays golden eggs. And those golden eggs is cash flow. If the property is performing properly, it will provide cash flow for you. So keep the property maintained properly. And when you do that, your problems or your challenges become far and few between. Always answer the phone. That's the first. The second lesson here is always have people on your team. I was 1,000 miles away when that phone rang. Now, on this property, I'm managing the property myself. That's why my phone rang. And typically, I will take care of the things that come up. So I'm like property management / maintenance guy on this property. So in this property, I wasn't around to actually take care of it. So I have to rely on my team. And sometimes there's bigger challenges than I'm willing to handle myself sometimes. So I have to have specialized people that can come in and do work when I can't, or it's above my skill level. So that's what I did. I called up my plumber. This guy did work for me in the past. He was recommended to me by someone I know and trust. So the guy was a solid individual. And I call him up and I'm like, hey, first question I asked him was, do you fix clogged drains? Can you snake a drain? He was like, yeah, I got the snake in the truck right now. Okay, can you run over to this property and snake the drain? The tub is clogged. He's like, yeah, sure, no problem. He said, I'm not going to be able to get there this afternoon, but I'll get to it today. I call my tenant up. Now I'm 1,000 miles away. I'm like happy as a pig in shit. I'm like, bro, I got a guy coming this afternoon. Are you going to be around, or do I need to find somebody to be there? He's like, no, I'm off from work today. I'll be around. Great. Plumber's coming out. The plumber comes out. This is going to blow your mind. The plumber says, oh yeah, I can't do that. I might break a pipe. What? You knew you had to snake the drain. And this is what you tell my tenant? And I'm 1,000 miles away and I'm telling my tenant what a great guy you are. Like, he did work for me in the past. He actually worked on my house. Like, he put a whole house filter in my house. And he did a really good job. He did work on numerous other properties around me He did a good job. He's not a handyman. He's a licensed actual plumber with a plumbing business, and he walks in and he says, "Yeah, I can't do this." Like, why didn't you give me the heads up in the first place? Then he says, "I have to call Neil. I'll call Neil and let him know what's going on," and he never calls me. So this is the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. You meet me, you're like, "Oh, real estate investor, you must be doing great for yourself." But there's work that goes on behind the scenes. So this is some of the things that you have to deal with. Sometimes you're dealing with it with the actual property management company. Sometimes you have a problem with the property management company. People say, "Oh, just hire a property management company. All your problems go away." No, you have to still manage the property management company. You still have to be in communication with them. So the first lesson was answer your phone. The second lesson was have somebody on your team that can take care of things when you're not able to take care of it. The third lesson, have multiple people on your team under the same discipline. Multiple plumbers, multiple HVAC, multiple drain cleaners, multiple electricians, multiple landscape. Because your main guy may not be available, or your main guy may ghost you. I never expected that to happen. So now what do I have to do? Well, I had to think for a second, because honestly, I didn't have a second. I like this guy so much, I didn't have a second. So I had to think for a second. I had to say, who else can I call? And then I thought about it. I had work done at a different property. I sold one of my properties, and I needed some plumbing work done. And I said, "Oh, when I sold that property, this guy came in. Let me call this guy up." And I called that guy up, and he was awesome. He's like, "Yeah, no, I'm a little bit busy today, and since it's just a clogged drain, I want you to call my buddy." And he gave me the name of a third. Now I'm 3 deep, right? He gave me the name of a third guy, and that guy was a specific to drain cleaning. So I call that guy up, and that guy's like, "Yeah, no problem. I could be out in, I don't know, about 2 hours or so. Somebody going to be around?" You want to talk about the heavens aligning, because remember, I'm 1,000 miles away. You want to talk about the heavens aligning. My tenant, who's a freelancer, says, "Yeah, I'll be home today too. I don't have to go into work until late." I'm like, woo! Now I don't have to find somebody to go sit on the property waiting for the drain cleaner to come up. That drain cleaner comes in, literally less than 10 minutes, and he had it taken care of. Some of the best cash I ever spent, because he took care of the problem. Now my tenant is happy. My tenant can go to work and not have to worry about it. I'm happy because my tenant's happy. I felt like a heel because this went on way too long. I literally told my tenant about the first guy. I was like, "Yeah, my guy's coming out. You'll be taken care of. Everything will be all right." So my tenant had that expectation of everything was going to be all right. And then the plumber just like ghosted us. Like, what the hell? Anyway, so the lesson is, have multiple people. If you don't have physical relationships with multiple people under the same discipline, right, then make sure that you know who you're going to go to next. So have a list of 3 electricians, have a list of 3 HVACs, have a list of 3 plumbers, have a list of 3 drain cleaners, have a list of 3 landscapers, have a list of 3 snow removal services. Whatever it may be, have a list of, if you're in the rural areas, have a list of wells. Like if you have an actual well, go find who's going to replace that well now before it's too late. Tree services, that's another one. Landscaping, a lot of landscape companies just do landscaping. It's not landscape/tree, some do, but have a tree guy in case you have to take some branches down. Like, have all of these people at least lined up so that you can do your research now in calm times and know, Oh yeah, this guy has good reviews. I like this guy. If anything happens, this is the guy I'm going to call first. This is the guy I'm going to call second. This is the guy I'm going to call third. Build that database out. It makes when you hit the challenge and you're in the throes of it, that's not the time to be making the decision on who you're going to call. Make the decision now. Build that database out. All plumbers aren't equal. We kind of touched upon this. Like, my guy is a plumber. The original guy I called was a plumber. And he said he did drain lines, but I guess he actually didn't do drain lines. Like, I don't know what the deal is. But I have a HVAC guy, and he just does my boilers. That's all he does. He just does boilers and AC units. He doesn't do... I thought, like, if you were a plumber meant... You called a plumber to work on your boiler. I didn't realize that there was a specialty of just a guy that does boilers and then just a guy that does plumbing, which is like digging ditches and running pipes and doing sewer work and doing the actual pipes in the house. You have drain cleaners, so guys that are specialized in clearing pipes. So know the different disciplines and build your database out and realize that not everyone is equal or the same, right? So you have HVAC, plumbers, and drain guys. What else? What else did I write down here? Take care of your tenants. Oh, this is huge. So take care of your tenants. Taking care of your tenants builds goodwill. Take care of your tenants. Offer them gifts on the holidays. Write them thank you notes. Hey, I really appreciate you paying your rent on time. Thank you so much. Here's a $25 Amazon card. What's wrong with that? Like, take care of them. If they call up, be attentive to their needs. And be a little bit flexible. If they wanna, like, if your lease says no nail holes in the wall, right? Because that's a big one. When you don't want a ton of nail holes in the wall, and then you when they leave, you got to spackle over that nail hole and you paint, and then the nail hole, it almost looks like your wall becomes like it has like freckles all over the place, right? So you have to be careful with running a good, clean property, but also allowing them certain things, right? One of the biggest things is he asked, listen, I just got a new job. I want to have a little barbecue in the backyard. I know that that's not something we normally do, but would you mind if I did it? And the answer is no. Like go ahead. You've been good. You take care of the property. You maintain things. Like, so have that openness. Whatever you're comfortable with, but have that openness. Taking care of your tenants, being attentive to their needs, sending them a thank you card in March or February, right? Everybody says, oh, I'm so thankful for you in November around Thanksgiving. Everybody gives gifts in December around Christmas. When's the last time you received a gift in the middle of May or the middle of April or something, right? So just make sure that you're taking care of your tenants and you're surprising them with little things. It builds goodwill. They get to know you as a person. They get to know that you're good at what you do and that you're going to take care of them, that you care about them, as opposed to that they're just a number. Have a CapEx fund. This is another big one. A CapEx fund, for those that don't know, is just capital reserves, right? So you have repairs and maintenance of little things like doorknobs and screens. CapEx refers to big items, water heaters, boilers, roofs, things like that. I'm using CapEx to kind of cover all of that, right? It really just means have a reserved fund because things will happen, and it's much easier if you already have the funds set aside so that you can just go to the funds, scratch the check, and you don't have to worry about it. It brings your stress level as a property owner way down. Because now you're not thinking, oh my God, where am I going to get the cash from? This is going to take money out of my... No, it's a business like any other business. There are expenses that are incurred. And you have those reserves so that you can disperse them when they're needed. One more tip on taking care of your tenants. This clog turned out to be grease in the drain. That could easily be offset to the tenant, right? I'm responsible for the well-being of the property, but you're responsible for not dumping grease down the drain. So some people are going to say, well, why didn't you bill that back to the tenant? And I'll tell you straight out, because the tenant's been a tenant for 10 years, and I never have a problem with them. So why would I put that on them? It's kind of repair and maintenance, in my view, in this instance. Not in every instance. If this was happening on a regular basis, then I would kick it up to the tenant. I would push back. But he's a responsible individual. Why would I chip away at all the goodwill that we have between each other when I have the CapEx fund? It's part of the process. It's a rental property, but you have to look at it as a business. There's expenses in business, and that's just how it is. So have a good relationship with your tenants so that when things do go sideways, they're a little bit more flexible. They're not calling you every 5 minutes. They're not yelling and screaming at you. It brings your stress levels down. You just get it taken care of. So to recap, always answer the phone. Have people on your team in the different disciplines. Have multiple people on your team in the disciplines. All plumbers aren't equal, so you have HVAC, you have plumbers, and you have drain guys. Don't take it personal, right? Like, my plumber ghosted me. I could be all upset about this. No, I'm not taking it personal. I'm just moving on, and I'll go to the next guy. And have a CapEx fund. Guys, I love spending time with you. You know, we live up here in the numerator, results, not down here in the denominator, excuses. Results over excuses every single day. Go out there today, be unstoppable, and crush your day. Good seeing you.